Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. I'm so thrilled and actually very privileged to have another day to be alive and to share with you some nuggets on the Life Signatures Radio. Thank you so very much for joining from whatever place. This is a daily podcast on the subjects of purpose, productivity, and resilience. We get to share this and also get the privilege to share as many other related topics and related subjects as far as this podcast is concerned. Today, we are going to continue talking about what we started quite a number of days back, maybe a week or two back. And we've been talking about what? We've been talking about raising spirit-led children. It's such a thing that is so huge. It is so forgotten. But I think 3 episodes back, I did make a prediction that in 50 years' time, probably even less, things will have changed so much so that this thing of raising spirit-led children is going to be the mainstay of life. And we're already starting to see the signs, because whatever we're doing right now is not necessarily working for everybody. And the results are becoming critical mass, which will force us to start looking elsewhere. And guess what? Where we're gonna look? We're gonna look in the spirit. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Life Signatures podcast with Lawrence Namale. Lawrence is a life coach, author, and keynote speaker who loves to tackle different topics on purpose, productivity, and resilience. His mission in life is to awaken all your boundless possibilities available in you. Life Signatures podcast is dedicated to bring to reality every single person who knows that deep down in their gut, there's got to be more to life than this. And now, here is your host, Lawrence Namale.
Well, yesterday when we were talking about these things, what did we do? We started talking about nurturing the spirit, because we did a recap that told us that there are 3 ways we deal with the spirit. Number 1, we nurture. Number 2, we ignore. Or number 3, we distort. All right. And we say that the best thing that we can be able to do is to nurture. And everybody wants to nurture. Especially when we have been informed and we know, okay, this is what's supposed to be done. We want to know, okay, how am I going to do this? How am I supposed to nurture that spirit of my child? Number 1, we've got to learn to teach them to cherish and to revere their inner compass. The inner compass is not just in them, it is also in you. And I think in teaching your kids to revere their inner compass, you've got to also revere yours. You've got to reconcile yourself to the fact that you also do have an inner compass. It is the inner compass that dictates most of the things that we do in this life. It is that inner compass that tells us the things that we are supposed to do. Because I do believe the inner compass is not just a physical, natural thing. I would dare say that the inner compass is actually a supernatural connection. That inner compass within us, it's the voice of the divine instructing us. And it can instruct us not just in the big things like which careers to take or whom not to marry. It can also instruct us on what laptop not to buy, what route not to take. If you take this route, there is going to be a traffic jam, a traffic snarl up you're going to meet. And we normally do these things, and sometimes say, something told me not to take this road. That is the voice of the Spirit. We've never learned to revere and to listen to it. the more we are aware that there is an inner compass inside of us, that's the voice of the Spirit, the more we become attuned to listening to the voice of the Spirit. Now, when it comes to the children, we've got to know that there is a spirit inside of them, and we've got to see how they behave, how they gravitate in this life. And we've got to learn to shield that spirit, that inner spirit. And I said yesterday that inner spirit sometimes can be distorted, or they can be blocked by heroes. You know, in the environments that we do have, they are heroes. And it will be nice if parents become the first heroes. Before these children can start going onto the TV and see people like Henry Danger and all that stuff, and Henry Danger becoming their heroes, when Henry Danger becomes the hero of your child, that guy blocks somehow the spirit that is inside that child. It's only in few circumstances and few situations where the spirit of the child is aligned to the hero that they follow. But more about that in another day. In raising a child to be spirit-led, one needs to come to terms with the fact that the child easily already does have an inner compass. That's a given. We've got to identify that. We've got to know that. And the child is not necessarily clueless about life as we think. Of course, these guys are, young and inexperienced and so on, but the child will not know about mathematics. The child will not know about driving. The child will not know about engineering and many other matters related to the intellect. It's a given. They will not know. That doesn't mean, however, that the child's spirit is blank and clueless about life. There are instances where a kid can, gauge by their own spirit. They can gauge that this is a wrong person. I'm telling you. They can sense and can be repulsed by you if you're a wrong person. That child's spirit can be active to the degree that we dare to identify it and we nurture that particular spirit, that inner compass. How exactly are we going to do it? I'm going to give you some few pointers here and there so that we can be able to learn together and we can continue. First, the first thing that you can be able to do is to identify what your child is passionate about. Haven't we talked about this? We need to repeat this. Let me tell you this, okay? There is no human being who comes on the face of the earth devoid of passion. None. There is none. There is none. There is not a human being who is devoid of passion. They do have passion. But let me tell you this. The passion is not a tangible earthly thing. Passion is a divine spiritual thing. It is not a tangible earthly thing. My two kids are totally different, as you might expect and as you might imagine. For some reason, Ethan loves drumming. This guy amazes us. He woke up at 2 or 3 or whatever it is, early, very early. And for some reason, he was attuned to music and he was attuned to drumming, and he will go out in the compound and pick 2 sticks. Let me tell you, this guy had never been in church to see someone drumming. Never. But he never, even on TV, never seen someone drumming. But he will take 2 sticks. And whether there is music playing or not, he will be hitting the chairs and drumming away. That was a passion that was inside of this guy. Now, the worst I can do is to ignore that particular passion and say, what are you doing? Go and read. What are you doing? What are you doing with those sticks? And that's what we were being told when we were growing up. Those of us who loved playing and so on and so forth. Of course, there's an element of parenting that is good, where we need to learn some intellectual things, academic things and so on. But that is not to the expense of the passion that is inside of us, which is a facet of the spirit. I remember this guy picking up sticks and every now and then just practice drumming. We didn't even have drums in the house, but sticks were a permanent feature in that particular house. He never watched anyone drumming. In other words, I cannot remember any trigger. I can't remember a trigger that caused this guy to start drumming. I cannot remember. Alright? But I can tell you without battling an eyelid, that was the Spirit. There is no question about that passion being there, emanating from the Spirit. There is no question that it is the Spirit that led and triggered, and he came with that particular passion already input in him. It is but just one of those many things that he is passionate about. Okay, and the worst I can do is to overlook these hints. That's the worst I can do, to overlook them and say you need to do mathematics, physics, and chemistry. There's a guy called Israel Mbonyi, a Rwandese. I'm listening to his music on an endless loop. This is June 2024 as we're recording. And I came to know about this guy because there was a storm brewing in Kenya, because this guy is going to perform gospel in Kenya and is charging for some tickets. VIP, VVIP, and Kenyans are up there in arms saying, oh, we're being charged to go and worship God. No, you're broke. That's why you're complaining. But anyway, I went into this guy's music after I heard people complaining and started listening. And I just fell in love with this guy. And the more I listened, the more I wanted to know, who in the world is this guy? He's a Rwandese and he's singing perfect Swahili. Rwandans are known to speak Kinyarwanda and French. Not even English, not even Swahili. How did he know? So I went to do a research about this guy and started reading. Do you know what I found out? I found out that this guy has a degree in pharmacy and a master's degree in public health. And he's belting out songs, deep songs. What's the point I'm making here? The point I'm making here is that there are multifaceted areas of passion. I don't know if he's passionate about pharmacy, but it's obvious that he's passionate about music. He's been doing music for the past 10 years. That's the research that gave me. That's what I got from the research. There is no question about people being passionate. The worst we can do is to overlook that particular passion because we have an alternative education system that they're supposed to go through. I think parenting is a huge experiment. Let me tell you that. It's a huge experiment, especially when we're trying to identify this passion and see how far can this passion be able to go. It is a huge experiment. The problem with us is that we want to, not experiment. Let me tell you something about the Spirit. Like Jesus said, it's like the wind. You don't know where it comes from. You don't know where it's going. That is how you lead a Spirit-led child. You don't know what gifts and talents are there. You've got to lean into them. It is expensive. I know it's time-consuming, it's laborious, and it's uncertain. Sometimes even irrational, but that's how you lead a Spirit-led child. That's how you raise a Spirit-led child. I think it should be seen as a massive adventure when we have no clue of what kind of treasure there is that we are unearthing in these kids. But at the same time, we do know for sure that there is treasure upon them. There is treasure upon them that we need to unearth. It is it is not a matter of if. It is just a matter of when. And believe me, this passion is a matter of the Spirit. Tomorrow we're going to look at one more way that we can be able to fan this flame ablaze in the lives of our kids. But until then, bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to Life Signatures Radio. If you enjoyed today's show, subscribe to Life Signatures Radio on iTunes, Stitcher, or visit our website at lifesignatures.libsyn.com. Life Signatures Radio, fresh, clean, and inspiring.